So Nacho back at it again. For those who've been following my channel, his image was pretty revolutionary for me. It really opened up, like it had PC games on it and Scum VM games on it when no other images were really doing that. And he just had these massive collections, and it was pretty tricked out with background music and all sorts of things. So in my mind, Nacho was one of the innovators in this space. I mean, I want to say his image is over a year or two old, the old one, and I still loved it. I loved all the MS-DOS games in it. So this is Nacho's 2019 version. So let's go ahead and check this out. 64 gigabytes, 20,000 games almost. Wow, so that gave me some chills because it's been a while since we've seen a Nacho's image, and here we go, we got one. A couple things, I turned off the background music. The other thing I did was your controllers are not preset up for this, so you need to hook up a keyboard. Go ahead and hit the letter Q, go ahead and hit down arrows, and then you want to hit T, and then T again here. And that, I'm going to go ahead and say no though, but that's how I configured my controller to get my Xbox 360 controller to work. So unfortunately he did not reset the controls before he exported the image. He did that on his previous image as well, so I just think he's not used to it or hasn't had enough requests for that. Now, something I've noticed though, he's already embracing the new. He has the Bezel Project background music pre-installed and running with the new script. So that was kind of cool. And then we have a new theme here from Dwayne Hurst as well. So he's really rocking out with the new stuff that's going on in the Retropie world. Now I'm trying to see if this has all systems, as I am just checking it out here as we get started. And this is called the Blu-Ray Theme, by the way. I already like that he's included Nintendo DS and a large Nintendo 64 collection, and a huge arcade set as well at 2126. But let's go ahead and add our game collections here. Let's do all games, and let's see if he's got any favorites and what he's been playing as well. Let's snoop around here a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and hit back after I've added these game lists, or game collections, and then those should auto-generate in just a second. Which doesn't require any booting up. So last played 95 games. We can go ahead and see what he's rocking. And let's see, does this have video snaps? Yeah. This is a 64 gigabyte image with JPEGs and video snaps. Here are some of the games he's playing. A lot of good games, as you see. Some Tekken 3 for the PlayStation, Aladdin for the SNES. So I always think this is fun, which is, what the hell are these image creators playing? and let me check this out, because there are so many games on these images that you never know where to start, you know. So he's got some Daphne action going. Okay, and he might have just played these games to test them out. Like Daphne, a lot of people like to test out the controls for that. 2126 arcade games, and as you see, lots of artwork on here, looking good. I think they have bezels installed, and if not, the Bezel Project is pre-installed. Neogeo, we got 147. Pretty standard. Family Computer Disk System 192. Nintendo. So we must have some hacks in here or something. Yeah, because look, Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. We have some, I think these are hacks. Some of these have got to be, yeah, prototypes. Okay. And then you have unlicensed as well. And then prototypes. See how so he just has them in parentheses when you get down to one. I think there's some hacks in here as well. I think I've already passed some. But wow. NES lovers, 1,300 of them. Super Nintendo, 1,000, when typically there's only about 700 and something. So a lot of hacks and prototypes in there as well. Nintendo 64, 235 with some prototypes. You got 40 Winks prototype. There's like 3 or 4 prototypes. Yeah, here we go. California Speed prototype. And Dragon Sword 64 prototype. So, and then Frogger 2. Cool. We'll check those out a little later. Virtual Boy 28. Ooh, some prototypes in here. You don't see those very often. Space Pinball. Game & Watch 52. Game Boy 680. Game Boy Color 605. Game Boy Advance all 1080. There's probably some prototypes in here as well. You have to go through there, but a lot of portable games. Nintendo DS 100. This is how it's a little crazy how he's able to fit so much on here. And he's got a lot of the good games too. It's not just there's a lot of not so good games for this particular system. SG 1000, Sega 77, Master System 360, Mega Drive, also known as Genesis 938. So that's going to be some other prototypes and unlicensed games as well. Sega CD 1. Okay, so he saved a lot of his space here. These Sega CD games take up a lot of space. So some of you like Terminator, things like that, Sonic CD. Unfortunately, they will not be on here. Dreamcast, though, there is 2 games, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and Power Stone. Both are good games. Sega 32X36 is pretty standard. Game Gear 313. There might be some hacks in there. It seems a little high. Yeah, see, prototype. Barbie Supermodel prototype. Atari 2600, also prototypes in there. 562, 5200. Nice to see. I know a lot of you like the 5200 Love, 70. 7800, 65, Atari Lynx 83, Atari ST Love 275, PC Engine 287, MSX 790, Amiga 900, CPC 355, Apple II. I think Oregon Trail's on here. For any of you who might want Oregon Trail. If you're wondering, like, what should I play on here? Oregon Trail, Frogger. There's some, good retro goodness in here. Pac-Man. Did we pass Oregon Trail? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I guess maybe it's not on here. Commodore 64, 5000. So here's where your dump of games is. Back to me saying, wow, 2,000 games. It's probably closer to 1,500. It's 1,500 or 1,400 once you get rid of the Commodore 64. So believe the hype. Or not. Okay. Sharp 68,000, 101. ZX Sinclair 370, Z Machine 79. Daphne is actually 6. Okay. Because sometimes they have the emulator in here, so all 6. Vision 156. Intellivision 210. Vectrex 33. Videopack 84. Neogeo Pocket Color 76. WonderSwan 44. Color 30. PlayStation games. Again, this is where he's saving a lot of his space by not just loading this thing up with PlayStation games and CD-based games. And then he totally skipped PSP. His MS-DOS collection is pretty legit, as I mentioned from before. But I have to say that to give other image creators credit is we are seeing people, like I want to say the Retrorama Rampage image, for example, which I think has way more than this on the PC front. But I grew up with Dune 2, and I grew up with the Command & Conquer series and a lot of these games, so they're really nostalgic for me at the time because I didn't know that Retropie ran them all. But nowadays we are seeing a lot more of these, but not all images do give you that MS-DOS flavor. And then ScumVM, all your good ones here. ScumVM is becoming pretty regular as far as what people are putting out there. So I'm just going to load an arcade game really quick just to see that if it has bezels or not. And then we'll play a couple console games. I want to see that Nintendo 64 game. Okay, so this is running on the Final Burn Alpha emulator to stock. Let's go ahead and launch that up. All right, so this one does not have the bezel project. This one just has a standard bezel, and that's why it's not fitting correctly. But if you want, you would connect your computer, your Raspberry Pi, to the internet and go ahead and install the bezel project, which is right here. Bezel project. Click that, load it up, and you can go ahead and get those vertical bezels for the arcade games. Now this, based on what we just saw, it's probably just going to be a basic Nintendo bezel. There you go. But again, if you're interested in the bezel project, they have individual bezels for individual games for a lot of the systems now. All right, so this is nice that he's not stretching out the portable games. That's good to see. So no loading screens, loading videos, or loading pictures, just the stock Retropie. So as far as this image, what do I think? Well, pretty impressed overall. Let's go ahead and start the game here. What I do think I think it would be beneficial to him if he had seen kind of what people have done to images so far. You know, like adding Easy Hacks Toolkit, you know, getting the bezels, the bezel project pre-installed, having it ask you for your controller when you first, you know, boot up on the first try. And I'm sure there's some things I'm also missing that I've seen other image makers do. I mean, it's just crazy how many of them are out there now and have just really elevated the game. Now, I have a lot of nostalgia, as I mentioned, for Nacho's image because it really did kind of, you know, created this channel and the love of Retropie and images. So, I keep that in mind that when I give this review, I am slightly biased. All right, we killed it. So there you have it, Nacho's 2019 image. I'm going to have to give this one like a B+. I was, you know, that whole thing where people have to go get a keyboard now to set this thing up. I think that's going to bug some people. However, what I really do like about it is just this wide variety of games. He didn't focus on the CD-based games. He threw a few in there, but he packed all that video snaps, artwork, background music, and a huge collection of games, almost 20,000, especially if you like older systems. Atari ST doesn't get a lot of love. Amiga doesn't get a lot of love. The Commodore 64, this Apple II. You know, myself, I don't play these games that much, so for me, it's not a huge deal, but I know there's some retro gamers out there that are, you know, they love this. Like, these are the systems that they want with the Raspberry Pi 3, where others of you want the Dreamcast and the PSP. So depending on where you fit on that scale, I'm kind of actually revising this, that if you are into the video pack and the Vectrix and the Intellivision and these older systems, and it might be an A for you, especially once you get past that keyboard shortcut. You also might not like all the bling that some of these new images have. So for you guys, this might actually be a perfect fit for you, and it's an A image. As far as just other 64 gigabyte images out there, I just feel that there's some out there that just pay a little bit more attention to the details and the setup, especially the user experience. So that's why I was kind of knocking it a little bit. But with all that said, it is a really well-performing image. It will work for the Raspberry Pi 3B+, where the old Nacho's image was on such an older version of Retropie, it actually would not work on the Raspberry Pi 3B+. So, you know, it's an upgrade, it's higher compatibility, there's even more games, there's newer themes, so it definitely got a makeover. The question is just, is it enough makeover for you or not? That's what I think. Let me know what you all think. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.